Hello everybody and welcome back to One Hub Racing. This is season number 12. This is the Pinnacle tier. Round 11 takes us to the German Grand Prix and the Hockenheim Grand Prix circuit. My name is Kieran McGinley and joining me in the commentary box as always is John Worth. Jono, how are you tonight?
I'm really good, thanks Kieran, and pleased to be back here again on Friday night. As you mentioned, German Grand Prix, and looking forward to seeing the cars get on the track for qualifying.
Absolutely, running on board with Go Tony then as he comes towards turn 8. We've got a couple of clouds. In fact, Jono, it's just started to rain out on track. That's probably why we're seeing everybody go out on the set of tyres they want to start the race on. Obviously, in the podium tier, it is currently chucking it down, Jono.
Yeah, it is. They were on the intermediate tyres when I last looked, and these boys out on track, and the pressure will be really on now because there's every chance you will only get one go at this, and there's a good chance we'll be in traffic as well as everyone tries to leave the pit lane at the same time. So a bit different to their standard qualifying procedures here, and probably this one lap may well be the one you need to nail.
No pressure then for any of the drivers as we see Go Tony making his way around the track. We've got 3 DRS zones which are currently active even though it's currently drizzling down. The rain is getting harder though. You've got the DRS zone down the main straight along the start finish line into turn 1. He's got the second DRS zone as we head up towards turn 2, and then after turn 4 sweeping through that left hander of turn 5 which Go Tony has just gone through is the third DRS zone. Expect all the overtaking to happen all the way down into turn 6. The first DRS zones will be simply used to try and set the move up, and turn 6 is the main overtaking point. But don't be afraid to see some drivers try it through turns 8, 9, 10 and 11. Those are the major overtaking zones. It would be an overtaking zone, turn 2, that right hander there, but you really compromise yourself if you make the move done there because the DRS detection point for the left-hander of turn 5 is right before the corner, so it'd be a little bit of a stupid move to make. Here comes Go Tony then, coming towards the line, and it's a 1:13.5 in these tricky conditions as we see the four-cylinder fly through then. Who are you watching, Jono?
I'm on board with Sam at the moment, who's just about to finish his lap now. He's on the soft tyres and he's about to cross the line, and he goes P2 then, just behind Tony there. So bank a lap in there for Sam as the rain continues to fall.
Yeah, it's falling harder and harder by the minute, so expect these drivers to really only set one lap. That's all the chance they'll get as Pepsi Game has left session. Jaw then sets the fast lap of the race, 1:13.2, and this is quite an odd track, Jono, with the tyre selection because we've got the ultra soft tyres, the softest possible tyre. The middle tyre is the soft tyre, so we completely bypass the super softs, and then the hardest tyre possible this weekend are the white wall medium tyres, so it's a bit of an odd choice here.
Yeah, it's definitely something a little bit different. With the stacking compounds, the ultra softs give you quite a big advantage in qualifying, as we've already seen currently with Jaw and Tony there putting it on the front row at the moment. But of course, in the race, it does mean that ultra soft is pretty fragile, so it certainly isn't a good race tyre. So it's always a bit of a compromise if you want to go for that in qualifying and try and get yourself up the grid, and then you've got to then try and deal with it in the race.
Absolutely. Samster then leads the way in the Drivers' Championship. He's currently 49 points ahead of Reflow, and Reflow isn't here tonight, so that gap could be extended by the end of this race. Donkel is in third place. He's on 115 points as he makes his way back to the pit lane. Donkel needs to win the race here to overtake Reflow. Any other result and he'll still be third place in the championship, so it's a chance for him to make his way up the table. Going through the rest of the order then, White Fountain is in 4th there. Matt FNG is in 5th. Scorpion 6th. Pepsi Gamer 7th. Hesky Time in 8th. Farth in 9th. Chopper in 10th. Then our race premium members, it's TK in 11th. Jaw in 12th. Cloudy Balloons 13th. Lawrence in 14th. Lukey 16th. Go Tony 19th. And CSS is still yet to score a point this season.
Yeah, that's an incredible stat, isn't it? He's in 7th at the moment, but yeah, we're at round 11 now, and not a point on the board there for CSS. So can he do it here with 13 drivers in these tricky conditions? He might not get a better chance this season, so he'll be looking to do all he can to get it into the top 10.
Absolutely. Goten then making his way back to the pits, and as you can see, the track is just getting more and more soaked as he struggles to get it back to the pit lane and into the pits. We've got Lukey there, is the only one on a lap at the moment. He is on a set of the medium tyres. Pepsi Gamer and Mally there, not being able to set lap times, Jono. There's got to be a certain point where the track gets too wet for those slick tyres.
Yeah, I'm on board with Mally now, and he is all over the road. I think it's already reached that point, and they both sat in the pits while the others were out setting their lap times. So a bit of a strange decision there, as Mally is going to go on to start this lap, but I think it's going to be very, very difficult to get anywhere near that top 10 with the conditions worsening. Mentioned that Donald as well, who is obviously going to become Sam's biggest rival in this championship, or one of. He's only down in 5th position after the first runs, which might be the only run they get. And I say that, DRS is disabled as well, so obviously track conditions continuing to deteriorate.
Absolutely, and it's getting to the point now where if the DRS gets disabled, obviously that is your sure sign fire way. If I said that in the right order, let me know. It is your surefire way of knowing that the track is ready for intermediate tyres. As you can see, Mally tiptoeing his way around turn 6 here and putting it up into the full ERS mode. I would be surprised to see any other drivers venture out onto the track. If they do, though, it will be on the intermediate tyres, but they'll probably be saving those for the race.
Yeah, I think we might have a quiet 11 minutes ahead of us because, yeah, there's not going to be anything to be gained really in terms of moving up the grid from going out again. We obviously don't know what the race conditions are, so perhaps, as you mentioned, if the race is wet, then drivers might go out on the inters just to get a feel for those sort of conditions, but otherwise there won't be much room for improvement, I don't think.
Here comes Mally then, coming around the final couple of corners as he makes his way towards the start-finish line. Just how off the pace is the track now? He makes his way towards the line. It's a 1:23.2, exactly 10 seconds off the pole time. So it really is time for those intermediate tyres.
Yeah, absolutely. It's inters all the way, and we've got two drivers venturing out on them then, Scorpion and White Fountain. They're the first to go on to the intermediates.
Well, Lukey here still trying to set a valid lap time, but he goes across the gravel, and that just shows you how little grip there is out there. Has he got a little bit of damage to that front wing? I believe he has. On the left-hand side, Lukey at some point has hit something, and you can see he's really struggling. He is trying to set that lap time on the medium tyres, but when are you going to throw in the towel and say, well, it's time for intermediates? But of course, those intermediate tyres are still slower. The rain is going to make you slower, so any chance of pole position now is surely gone unless these conditions improve.
Yeah, unless they improve, this will be our top 10. That one lap looks like it is going to be the crucial one, and Draw has managed to pull that out the bag then on those Ultra Softs. We'll wait and see how that goes from in the race. Of course, we don't know what the conditions will be, but I'm thinking, you know, so Sam has switched to the Ultra Soft as well by the look of it, just in case things dry up at the end of the session. But that will be the only way these drivers are going to go any quicker.
And in fact, Donkel there has retired from the session. He believes it's not going to get any better, so we could be seeing that as a common trend. But between the 11th, 12th and 13th places, you know, there's still the chance for them to get onto the intermediate tyres. They can... Oh, as Pepsi Gamer loses the car coming through turn 7. He's just about kept a hold of it there, out of the walls and off the grass, so kept it on the track. But that just shows you there, going through turn 7, the car just didn't like it at all and just let go in these slippery conditions. Definitely time for intermediates, and you can see there most of the drivers starting to retire, and through no fault of anybody's, Jono, we might get a very quiet 7 minutes.
Yeah, we're not going to see any more on track, I don't think now, are we? So yeah, 8 minutes for the clock to count down. I've been wishing for a wet qualifying session all season, but of course this is the downside of it. If it's dry at the beginning and people do get a lap on the dry tyres, then that's pretty much game over.
Well, some people like White Fountain treating this as a practice session. And White Fountain, when he was asked in the pre-race interview, we're at the halfway point of the season, have you over or underachieved? And he said, I do think I overachieved in the first 6 races of the season. If I look back, it seems as if I was lucky with getting no damage and avoiding incidents all around the track. The last 4 races, I hope I underachieved because they were not good at all. We're at halfway, with still 10 races to go because he's unable to attend Abu Dhabi. So 10 races for White Fountain to go as he makes his way across the line. It is a 1:22.0, and actually that's a quicker lap time than we've seen on the slick tyres. So you've seen Pepsi Gamer retire, Lukey and Mali as well. I mean, have they missed out on an opportunity to just get another position?
Well, yeah, there's definitely, definitely positions to be gained, sort of 10th, maybe even 9th. I mean, Chopper's only 3/10 ahead of White Fountain there, even though he set his lap on the dry compound tyres, but perhaps it wasn't a very good lap from him. So there's definitely a possibility to get into the top 10 for anyone who currently sits out of it. But, yeah, all those below White Fountain have retired, haven't they? So there's not going to be any movement, only CSS, Draw and Scorpion and White Fountain left circulating.
Well, Scorpion, in the pre-race interviews, was asked, where do you think you and your teammate can take your team in the constructors' standings? Now, of course, Toro Rosso are 4th place at the moment, 158 points off the lead, 72 points behind Mercedes, but crucially, they're 8 points ahead of 5th place Sauber, 28 points ahead of 6th place Red Bull. And Scorpion had to say, my recent form got myself and the team some decent points. Chopper had a bad run before Silverstone, but bounced back and got P3 and 4 in the last race. Currently we're 4th in the championship. I think we can secure this spot, but I doubt that we can get any higher as the gap to the Mercedes is massive. And that's the thing with Reflow and Farth. Reflow doing 98% of the work. They've got the points there to really have that safety buffer to anybody else.
Yeah, they've got a big buffer, haven't they, to Toro Rosso, but they are one of the form teams, you have to say at the moment. Perhaps Scorpion and Chopper didn't start the season as strongly as they'd hoped for, but Scorpion has come into his own. He's got good speed the last few rounds, and Chopper obviously getting that podium as well at Silverstone. So I think Toro Rosso, they could be in the hunt with Mercedes if they don't get good attendance, and they've definitely got what it takes, I think, to stay on top of those behind them.
We've got CSS here. We're sort of looking at on the screen now as he tiptoes his way around turn 16, adds 17, as Scorpion now retires from the session. There were yellow flags, so I'm assuming he was involved in some sort of incident there. But CSS, we're in the 11th round, Jono. No points scored, as he takes a bit of the Pirelli sign with him. It must be hugely frustrating. Just how much would that play on your mind that no points scored yet this season?
Yeah, it's a lot of races down, isn't it? And to be able to not get a point is surprising, to be honest. I know we did see him, I think it was perhaps at Canada. He was up in the points for a long time and ended up just defending really, really aggressively from the cars behind, and eventually it all went wrong. So points have been for the taking a couple of times. But you have to say, you've got to keep going, haven't you? Points are going to be his aim, obviously, from here on in. And he's in 7th at the moment with little likelihood that there'll be any other changes. So he's going to start inside the top 10. So it's up to him to remain there come the end.
And CSS is the only car out on track at the moment as he makes his way towards turn 12. Peter in the chat, Pepsi Gamer, says if only he didn't disconnect at the beginning, and that is crucially cost him a chance at battling away for that top 10. It was only the one lap that mattered really, and that was the one at the very start. And as you can see, they're down in P12 as CSS makes his way into the pit lane. And Jono, for the first time, I think I've done one hub, we've got an empty track.
Yeah, nobody on circuit. So I guess we'll take this opportunity as well to mention that we've got a couple of new drivers on the grid tonight. We have got Praga, who is replacing Sophie in the Williams, and Mali, who's replacing Mike Udadi in the Renault. And both of these drivers are coming in with a pretty fast reputation, I think. So I think the front boys are expecting them to perhaps put it up amongst them as the season progresses now. So yeah, we've got 2 new drivers to keep an eye on in today's race.
Absolutely. 3 minutes on the clock. Dior is the only driver who hasn't retired yet, so maybe he's waiting for an ideal opportunity to head out onto track. Maybe he's hoping and doing a sun dance if there was an equivalent there, because if there were, he'd be the only one out there. But I doubt with 2 minutes and 45 seconds to go that if it were to stop raining, that the track would actually dry up.
Yeah, definitely it wouldn't dry up, would it? It's still raining pretty heavily. Even if it did, there's actually standing water now on the circuit as well. So yeah, George sat in the pits there. So if he retires from the session, that will be everybody out of the session. Otherwise, yeah, we've got 2 minutes and 20 seconds to count down then before we head to the grid for the formation lap.
Well, Peter in the chat is saying that it's going to be a dry race, so hopefully we get a little bit more on-track action than we're currently seeing. But yeah, it just gives us a chance to properly preview the race. This is crazy. Yes, it is. I don't think I've ever had an empty track to commentate on, but I'll tell you what, Jono, there's a chance for everything. First time for everything. How's your week? How's your week been, John? I feel like
week's been pretty good.
I feel like at this point we should just get the paper boats out and just sort of stroll them down pit lane. I feel like it's one of these scenarios.
We should. It is reminiscent of some of those moments we've seen with the Red Bull boys in real life. Yeah, getting the paper boats out, having a dance down the pit lane in these wet conditions. But unfortunately, looking down the pit lane now, all the teams are hidden away. So we literally have no on-track action at all. At least the safety car could surely fire up and give us a lap to give us something to look at.
We've got a question in the chat. Jono, what's your favourite One Hub Racing Germany memory from your racing?
Oh, did I ever even race here? Yeah, I had some good races here actually. I remember one. I can't actually remember where I finished in the end, but racing with Michael when he used to race in this league. And we had an epic battle, and there was 4 or 5 of us all battling for a large portion of the race, and it really did highlight how the great overtaking you can have, you know, into turn 2, even as you mentioned, and especially into turn 6 hairpin. And it was just to and fro in every lap, and it was all kept clean as well. So I really enjoyed that one. I think we all raced for the battles, and that one sticks in my mind.
Hello, Sadie is saying it's very interesting. On-track action. Well, if I had a piece of paper, I'd make a paper boat and we'd sail it down pit lane, see how far it went. It probably wouldn't go that far because A, it's a paper boat, and B, I would have made it, so we would just start looking at the pit lane again. Only 13 seconds left of qualifying, and then we'll get you the qualifying results, the official ones. Interestingly, though, 8 of the top 10, Jono, qualifying on those soft tyres. I said to you before the stream that could happen. The fact that these ultra soft tyres going onto the medium tyres, that's the hardest possible tyre, might not be the greatest shout in the world. Yeah,
absolutely. I think, you know, Sam won't be too disappointed at all with third Willie, because take away those 2 ultra soft runners, which you'd imagine won't have as good race pace, probably because of the strategy they'll have to run, as Sam in third. You know, you can look at that and thinking he's actually on the provisional pole in his mind, at least.
Well, the actual official qualifying results: Jaw in first, Go Tony second, Samster third, Praga fourth, Donkall fifth, Matt F&G in sixth, CSS seventh, Scorpion eighth, Chopper ninth, White Fountain 10th, Marley in 11th, Pepsi Gamer 12th, and Lukey did not set a lap time during that qualifying session. Tim Cry, I hope I pronounced your name right. I know that's TK in the chat there saying, seeing your teammate getting his first pole position when you're in Paris. Well, what a moment for the Haas team there, getting his first pole position for Jaw there. White Eagle saying, evening everyone, good evening to you, White Eagle. And as some of the drivers have predicted, Jono, looks like it's going to be a dry race.
Yep, dry race. Sunshine, and track's dried out nicely there from qualifying, and yeah, the drivers will be looking forward to getting that on a dry track, I think. Does make it a bit more awkward though that we're straight into the dry conditions. You haven't got the build up that you've normally had through qualifying, so you're going from perhaps tiptoeing around a little bit in those dodgy conditions to then having to absolutely fly and nail it in on lap 1 in the dry and on the tyres you qualified on.
Absolutely. Lots of people in the chat saying good luck to everyone. Thank you all for joining us. Make sure you do subscribe to One Hub Racing down below. Click that red subscribe button. Make sure you click the bell as well, so that way you're notified every time we go live. Obviously 3 different tiers. This is the Pinnacle tier, and you will have the Prestige tier, which is airing just after 9 p.m. tonight. But right now we're focusing on the Pinnacle tier, and we're focusing on whether Samster can really extend his lead at the top. Will it get to a point he could extend his lead here at the top of the table, if I just get the table up, to 74 points? And at that point, Jono, does it become uncatchable?
Yeah, I guess it's never uncatchable, but once you get into those sort of figures, yeah, it's looking very, very difficult, isn't it? Once you get above 2 race wins, which of course he's only 1 point away from already being, it gets very, very difficult because Sam's so consistent. You know you're going to have to get some incredible results to even close him in. And even if you win a race, you know that Sam's probably going to be there or thereabouts. You're probably only going to pick up sort of 10 points at a time. So barring actual incidents and perhaps DNFs, we don't want to wish that on anyone. It's going to be very, very difficult for Reflow once he returns to jump back into that Mercedes and try and take that fight to Sam.
Joe had a little bit of trouble getting away from the line there, but he has come back to the front of the queue. He and Go Tony, the car behind him, are starting on the ultra soft tyres. Now watch out for them. Really, they'll only be taking those tyres up to around lap 5, lap 6 if they can. Then they'll have to chuck on a set of medium tyres, but those tyres will be worn to shreds by the end of the race, so watch out for them, see if they can make it to the end. Samster P3 on soft tyres, Praga 4th, Donkel 5th, Matt FNG in 6th, CSS 7th, Scorpion 8th, Chopper 9th, White Fountain 10th. All the top 10, of course, as the rules state, have to start the race on the tyre they qualified on because they set a qualifying time on dry tyres, and we have a dry start. With the guys outside the top 10, so we've got Marley there in P11, starting on a fresh set of soft tyres. Joining him are 12th place man Pepsi Gamer and Lukey at the back there in P13. A smaller grid, Jono, but let's be optimistic about these drivers. It's more opportunity for points.
Yeah, it's more opportunity for points, and there's still plenty of drivers out there with points to prove and lots to gain from this race. So I think we'll still be treated to a good race here, and obviously loads to play for in the championship fight as well. And good qualifying for Praga there in 4th on his debut as well. And he's got the charging Donkel behind him, who knows he needs to win this race. Really, it will be at least in the top 2 to ignite his championship hopes as well. So I think we're going to see plenty of close racing from those guys at the front.
Well, you are watching One Hub Racing. This is the Pinnacle tier, round 11 at the German Grand Prix. We are moments away from lights out here as all the cars get ready, as we're waiting for Pepsi Gamer and Lukey to get to their grid slots, and they have done. We've flicked over and we're waiting now for those 5 red lights. Any moment now they're going to start to come on, as there's a little bit of a delay, but here we go then. The German Grand Prix is almost upon us. Round 11 is underway, and what are the starts like? Predictably, Jaw's got a fantastic start, but Go Tony hasn't had a great one. Samster's up to P2 then, as they head through turn 1 for the first time. Making their way now towards turn 2. Samster's got an electric start here. He's now down the inside of Jaw in the Haas then, as there's a little bit of contact with the McLaren behind. That was Donkel trying to be aggressive there, but it didn't quite work. We've got yellow flags in sector 1 there, and I believe that was Scorpion caught up in something there at the back. So he's been turned around, I think, as we now head through turn 5. And now coming down towards the harsh braking zone of turn 6, then Jaw desperately trying to hold on to the lead of the race there, as Go Tony trying to go up the inside, and there's a little bit of contact, a little bit of debris flying around the place as well, as that's Sauber losing the back end, and that's a little bit of carnage behind us there, as Pepsi Gamers now up to 9th place as they come through turn 7 for the first time, and then coming round turn 8 and turn 9. That's a good start for the Renaults though, especially Lukey, starting from P13. He's now up to P8, so a great start from him though, and that's Jaw now flying through turn 12 as we head towards the stadium section, coming towards turn 13, and not going to mention the Sebastian Vettel fact because it's been overused already. Heading through turns 14 and 15, coming around 16 and 17. That's Donkel getting a position on Go Tony, and he's now going to be breathing down the neck of Samster. Lap 1 then, Jaw in the lead, Samster 2nd with Donkel 3rd, Go Tony 4th, Praga 5th, White Fountain 6th, Chopper in 7th, Lukey 8th with Matt FNG in 9th, Marley in 10th. Pepsi Gamer seems to be dropping down the field. He's now down to 11th, as he's now actually battling with CSS in 12th place, and Scorpion is at the back of the field. He's now currently in 13th place.
Well, yeah, plenty to look at there, wasn't there? Go Tony quite erratic on that first lap. He's side by side with Praga at the moment, but that sort of gave Jaw a little bit of breathing space as he attacked Sam, and there was front wing flying as well from either from the Force India or from Sam, not sure who, and Go Tony getting it all a bit wrong in the third sector as well, which allowed Donkel to get through, so he's gone charging after Sam. And yeah, unfortunately, CSS is hopes of getting points, have taken a dent there as he's dropped down to P11, and Scorpion, the big loser at the start, drops down to the back of the field in P13.
And Go Tony has made the move on Praga then, so on the ultra soft tyres he's got the grip then to make the move, but here comes Praga up the inside, and Go Tony's run wide, he's onto the gravel, and somehow no one collects him as Lukey there claims another position. He's now up to P7. It's a great start from Lukey then. He desperately needs points as that's Tony's off. Tony has lost it. Onto the grass he goes, and I think he's actually retired from the race after that one, as I think he went into the menu. Are we going to see it at the bottom of the screen? Well, he's still going over then. DRS has been enabled as George desperately tries to hold on from Samster then. He still leads the way then. Donkel in third place, but he's now 1.9 seconds behind Samster. Of course, DRS is enabled, and there it goes then. Yellow flags in sector 3. And is that Go Tony? Yes, it is Go Tony. He has retired from the session. Here comes Samster then as we head down towards turn 6. He's on the outside line. He might get a better traction zone though as we head through turn 6, and Samster there is just about given enough room by Jaw, but Jaw has that traction to keep going and keep a hold of the lead of this race. Praga, a little bit of queue forming behind him as White Fountain, Chopper and Lukey are all behind him as Jaw is actually overtaken, and the virtual safety car's been deployed just as Samster took the lead of the race.
Yeah, what timing that was, but it was looking ominous. You have to say, Sam looking really, really feisty behind Jaw, and already those two have dropped on call a little bit. But yeah, VSC, so everyone now got to keep their delta. Very, very easy to get this wrong and pick up a stupid penalty, so everybody looking at those deltas carefully.
Absolutely, waiting now for those green flags. And it will go top left corner, it will go sector 1, sector 2, sector 3 yellow, and then instantly away. There you go then, DRS enabled once again, and has Samster been caught napping here, because Jaw's got a fantastic run coming out of the final corner, in towards turn 1 we go. Can he take back the lead of the race? Samster runs a little bit wide, they're going to be side by side here as they head towards turn 2. Little bit of contact there, as Jaw just about keeps it facing the right way, as Samster holds the lead of the race then, and that's allowed Donkel to actually close in. He's only a second back now, and he might have DRS. In fact, he does have DRS then, so he can start closing in. Praga then has got to be careful. He's holding off White Fountain, Chopper, Lukey at the moment. This battle for 4th place involving 4 drivers right now. Pepsi came into the pits. Matt and Marley came in just before the virtual safety car was deployed. They put on a set of medium tyres, so they're trying to get to the end of the race, but I wonder how successful they're actually going to be, as Samster has retained the lead, but you can see Donkel getting ever so close to the back of that Haas there. White Fountain riding on board with now, trying to chase down Praga, but makes a little bit of a mistake there coming out of turn 11 as we head towards turn 12. You're basically chucking the car in here and hoping it sticks as we head now down towards turn 13. Tough braking zone, turn 13. It's almost cambers away from you as you go to enter the braking zone. But that is a move for second place. Is that Donkel and Jaw there, trying to battle away for position. Jaw looked like he ran wide off the track, but either way, Donkel has grabbed second place, and so much drama happening, Chono. I'm not entirely sure where to look.
Yeah, so much happening, but Jaw has dropped back, so can he use DRS? Oh, he's gone, as he's out-braked himself there and gone for a dive into turn 2. I don't think he had any choice. Looked like he missed his braking point there, but he's actually managed to make the move on Donkel. But you think now with DRS, Donkel in that McLaren will be able to fight back.
Now, as I was saying, in qualifying, if you make a move going into turn 2, you run the risk of doing that to yourself. The DRS zone just opens up for Donkel, and he's able to take that position away going into turn 6, well before turn 6 actually. And Donkel then grabs P2, then 2.3 behind Samster, and that will be crucial because he has to win the race to overtake Reflow in the standing, so that's going to be crucial then. Praga then is managing to catch up to Jaw now. So Jaw, 5 laps into this race, he is going to start seeing the sell-by date on these tyres, and they're going to start not behaving the way they should with the levels of grip that he wants, and he will start to be struggling in a couple of laps' time.
Oh, he will, as Praga gets on the curb a bit awkwardly there, and a little bit of a slide, but yeah, Jaw's in, so he's managed just 5 laps then on the ultras.
Absolutely, in he comes then. So this strategy then, the one stop, if you want to try it, will involve you having to go onto the medium tyres. If he goes onto soft tyres, it's a 2-stop. Looks like mediums are ready in the pit lane with the Haas crew. What tyres has he put on? They are mediums, so it's a planned 1-stop. I wonder if Jaw can make it to the end. I mean, I'm saying that now, but Matt FNG, Marley, Pepsi Gamer, you've got to watch out for those guys because they might not be able to make it to the end of the race on the set of tyres they've put on now.
Yeah, he's still in a better position than those guys, I guess. But it still puts him at a big disadvantage to the likes of Sam and Donkel, who are on those softs and will then switch to mediums and much fresher tyres for the end of the race.
White Fountain 6/10 back from Praga. He's just keeping that gap for now. Maybe not wanting to attack. Maybe he's trying to look after the tyres. Chopper half a second back now from White Fountain as Lukey just drops back a little bit. 1.2 now behind Chopper. Maybe tyre saving comes into play here as he picks up a 3-second time penalty coming through turn 13. Lap 6 of this Grand Prix. Samsler leads from Donkel, Praga, White Fountain, Chopper, who we're seeing here. Lukey, CSS, Scorpion, Jaw, Matt FNG, Marley and Pepsi Gamer. The only retirement we've had is Go Tony, who retired from the menu.
He did indeed. Sam picks up a time penalty then, so it will be a factor in this race for sure. Turn 1 especially, very, very easy to extend or break the track limits there. So Donkel, if he can keep it clean himself, that could pay dividends for him later on. White Fountain is the big gainer early on. He's up 6 positions then into P4, and he's in P4 in the Drivers' Championship as well. So White Fountain, always a consistent driver and seems to make his way forward in the races.
He is under an absolute mountain of pressure then from Chopper as we head through turn 7. How long can he hold on to this 4th place then as the Toro Rosso gets right on the gearbox? Then he tries the outside line going through turn 8, but White Fountain shuts the door on the outside then, which would have become the inside for turn 10 and turn 11 there. So smart driving from White Fountain, covered that line then, wouldn't let Chopper attack him. And this is a battle for 4th place here. Looks to be pretty interesting. This will be a blessing for Praga because it will allow him to pull away. He's now outside of DRS range from White Fountain. So White Fountain's going to have an even tougher time of keeping that Toro Rosso behind him.
Yeah, he is. And yeah, these guys are all close. But Chopper he is looking feisty. Looks like he's got more confidence in the corners, or more grip anyway at the moment than White Fountain has. So he'll be looking to get into slipstream, although he's outbraked himself a bit there into turn 2, and that does put him on the back foot a little bit for this main overtaking zone.
Pepsi Gamer's off the track in sector 3. That is turn 13. We're coming out of turn 13 there. But the McLaren driver just getting back onto track and trying to make this medium tyres work. Maybe they haven't got enough temperature in them. But CSS then, in the other Sauber. It's been a pretty good day for Sauber so far, running 4th and 7th. But you know what they say about the curse of the commentator. Pepsi has lost it. Pepsi has lost it again.
It turn 1.
Yeah, and he's actually retired as well. So down to 11 runners then. So Pepsi Gamer throws in the towel. He's had enough. And that opportunity of points, especially for CSS, looks very, very promising. Could this be his day? We have the curse of the commentator always, Jono. But as CSS goes through turn 13, this could be his day.
Yeah, as we said before, he might never get a better chance. And as drivers drop out, as I say, just 11 runners now. So points are absolutely on the cards. And even though he had an incident himself, I think, a little spin himself on lap 1, he finds himself in P7. So yeah, he's survived 9 laps and he's well in the points at the moment. Absolutely.
White Fountain just about keeping the car in check then as we head through turn 3, turn 4, and now coming through the fast left-hander of turn 5. We ride on board with Chopper. He does have the DRS, and you can see he's revving 7th gear so hard and changing into 8th gear as late as he possibly can to try and get the maximum amount of power to the engine. How much difference does that actually make, Jono, trying to rev the engine as hard as it possibly can?
I'm not sure it really makes that much difference. I used to just go up to the line and change straight away, but you do see drivers absolutely nailing the engine, don't you, on the rev limiter all the time, and certainly we don't see that really in real life. But I guess if they think it gains them a fraction of a second of time, then we will see drivers trying to do it.
You see there, Chopper's got so much more grip coming through the corners. It's almost like the car's been set up for the corners but not for the straights. And that might be costing him a little bit of time here. But as you can see, Praga hasn't run away at all, as Donkel picks up a 3-second time penalty. He is closing in on Samster at the front. 1.7 is the gap. We'll keep an eye on that gap for you. In terms of a pit window, any time sort of lap 15 would be the best time to pit. Anywhere between laps 15 and 18 is the optimum time. That's when the pit window will open. Here comes Chopper then, as he looks for a move round the outside. White Fountain defends the inside line. Here comes Chopper towards the braking zone. The Sauber's up the inside. Little bit of contact there as White Fountain locked up. And they're going to be side by side as they head towards turn 7. And White Fountain has the inside line, but I think he let the Toro Rosso. Yeah, he yielded. So Chopper gets 4th place then. And White Fountain concedes the place, now down to 5th place. But I'd keep an eye on that battle, because it might just develop into something else. Looking at the other Sauber, who's under attack from Toro Rosso. This looks strangely familiar, but here we go then. The CSS coming through turn 12, with Scorpion right behind him, 6/10 away. And that could be a good little battle. CSS wanting to hold on to as many points as he possibly can, but he's going to find it difficult with Scorpion right behind him.
Yeah, he is going to find it difficult, and Scorpion on the recovery drive then after it all going wrong for him on the first lap and ended up at the back of the field. So yeah, he's looking to get P7 here if he possibly can from CSF. So he is in prime position if he can get the braking right to get into DRS and get a good slipstream then down this crucial straight. And we'll see how he gets on for straight line speed. Chopper didn't look that brilliant straight line speed versus White Fountain. But it looks like Scorpion here has got a massive load of speed here on CSS.
Absolutely, he goes to the outside. Again, the Sauber tries to defend the inside line, gets his braking point right, but Scorpion will try the cutback coming out of turn 6, but he can't get the power down. That's crucial. Couldn't quite get the power down as much as he wanted, spun up the rear tyres too much, and that's going to cost him that exit that he wanted. Thought about a move down the inside going in towards turn 8, but no dice. Going to try and move around the outside of turn 9 instead, and the Sauber shuts the door. I think he only had a front tyre alongside, so and the Sauber's actually let him through after that one. So respect between these drivers. A bump in the road that Scorpion didn't need, but he's got the position.
I'm sure I saw a little bit of carbon fibre fly in that as well. That was an unfortunate one. That I think Scorpion just sort of stuck his nose in there a fraction, didn't he? And CSF turned in, not really realising he was there, yeah. A little bit of contact was made, so hopefully if there is any wing damage for Scorpion there, it doesn't affect him too much.
Looking at the battle for the lead, Donkel has closed this gap significantly as he's now within DRS range. He now could make a move now as he moves to the right hand side of the track, then going down in towards turn 6. Who's going to blink first in the braking zone? Donkel has the inside line. Will he have the better traction? Oh, he loses that back end just very slightly. That's might allow Samster to have a go back as they fly through turn 7, but Donkel gets the lead of the German Grand Prix as we head through turn 8 then. That McLaren is doing exactly what he needs to do. Winning this race will put him 2nd place in the championship, and it would also cut back 7 points from Samster's inevitable lead after this Grand Prix.
Yeah, and Donkel made steady progress, didn't he, in bringing that gap down. He was a couple of tenths quicker every lap. And but he's made the move on Sam, but I think Sam is quick enough, we shall see, to manage to stay with Donkel through that sector 3 and then benefit from the slipstream and DRS himself. So although Donkel throws that gap down, it doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be able to pull out a gap.
Praga is in then, a bit earlier than I expected, on lap 12. But it is possible to make those tyres last. So he is the first person to make a scheduled pit stop to go onto the soft tyres. The medium tyres. And where will he rejoin? I'm thinking he's going to rejoin in around about 8th place, maybe 9th if Jaw gets the better run. But Donkel in the lead then. That sort of releases Chopper. Chopper now finds himself up to 3rd place after that one, as White Fountain down to 4th. So, up to 4th after that pit stop. Lukey running in 5th place there, so it's a good drive from him so far. But of course, we're getting to that point now where the top 7 still yet to stop in this race as Praga does rejoin in P8 then. But he's not far away from Jaw then. They've rejoined on the same bit of track, and that's a bit of carbon fibre coming off the Haas then of Jaw. And maybe that's going to that could actually affect his performance in this race as we head through turn 7, as there's a little bit of contact, a little bit of wheel banging there, but not enough to make the Williams go round. But the Williams definitely knows that the Haas is there now as we fly through turn 11 there, as Praga does a little bit of gardening there, taking the grass with him, flying through turn 12 then. And as we head towards turn 13, did that front wing damage, is that affecting Jaw right now? He seems to be taking a little bit easier now, coming around the corners especially, as Samster comes into the pits. He puts on a set of medium tyres, the Ferrari then leaving the pit lane as he'll rejoin the track then. I'm thinking ahead of Scorpion, surely. Yes, he does, just about ahead of the Toro Rosso of Scorpion there, so that's important. He's now got a bit of clear air, which is going to be important if he's going to make that medium stint work and to make the undercut work.
Yeah, he's going to have clear air, and you think the undercut will give him a good chance at repassing Donkel. And what will Don do here? Will he pit this lap? Will he blink? Or will he try and go a few laps longer and get a bit of, get them on slightly different tyre lives when he switches to the mediums, and then try and battle Sam at the end? It looks like perhaps he has got slight pace advantage over Sam, certainly on these tyres he has had. So maybe he'll have that in the back of his mind, and that will encourage him to go a couple of laps longer and be confident in closing Sam down on the second stint. We're about to see now the Donkel comes round, and he is going to enter the pit lane then, so he's going to pit and try and cover off Sam if he can.
Absolutely. Let's have the gap to the leader then. So the gap to the leader was 18.2. Now it is a short pit lane here at the German Grand Prix. The top three are in now. Samster making his way through turn 16, then through turn 17. The McLaren boys working as hard as they can as he exits on the medium tyres, making his way down the pit lane. There's Samster then coming across the start-finish line, and this is the track where the overcut could work, and he's just about rejoined ahead of Samster then. What, 9/10 of a second? I was just about to say 1.2 seconds the gap to the leader, but yep, Donkel rejoins just about ahead, and actually Samster rejoining or pitting in a lap early to try that undercut hasn't really worked out, because he's got an extra lap of wear on those tyres that he probably didn't need. Chopper then battling away with Praga in that Williams, coming down the long straight now after turn 5, coming towards turn 6. Praga has the inside line, then turns in early. Chopper might try the cutback here. He's got so much more traction than the Williams, but he had nowhere to put the car then, as Donkel and Samster battling through turn 8 then, as Samster putting two wheels onto that AstroTurf, if you like, and Donkel runs very wide on the exit of turn 11 then, and how close they run to that wall heading into turn 12. That's frightening. Just about a bit of an A4 piece of paper there, Jono.
Yeah, it is frightening watching on the onboard. They are getting super close. So Sam there goes for a cheeky little move, and it looks like he's actually made that stick. So Sam, opportunistic move there. Donkel ran just very slightly wide, and Sam pounced, but of course, is it the best place to do it? He took the opportunity, but Donkel here will surely be in prime position to have a go back.
Yeah, absolutely. He's into the DRS zones, and he's going to make a move into turn 2, is he? No, he doesn't. He must have been listening to the stream, John, because he's going to set himself up here for this long DRS zone through turn 5, and this is where all that slipstream comes into effect. This is where this battling comes in as we head down through turn 5 now. Donkel, you can see how much more speed he has going through turn 5, heading towards turn 6, and Donkel will very easily take the lead of this race. And a little bit of contact from Samster behind. Let's hope there's not any front wing damage. Jaw in the background there, I did say he might have had a bit of front wing damage. He did pit in, put on a set of soft tyres on lap 14, and he's got to take those tyres 21 laps. That is going to be a huge ordeal. He might not make it.
Yeah, it's a long way to go. I guess he's taking the punt before I've got to do something here. He's at the back of the field. But yeah, he will be mightily quick at the moment compared to those medium runners. But yeah, he'll suffer at the end for sure. Sam then is keeping a good Donkel. I think these two are going to be very, very difficult to separate. I noticed Sam did get another time penalty as well on his on the lap he had advantage over Donkel. So he's obviously pushing very, very hard in doing so. He did get another time penalty, so he's sat on 6 seconds at the moment. Donkel on 3 seconds, I believe.
Yeah, it's going to be maybe a race decided on the penalties then. So they've got to keep it clean. They've got to keep those corner cuts to a minimum as they make their way through turn 5 now. Samster this time with the DRS. Now let's see what the Ferrari's like. Is it set up for the speed down the DRS straight? And as you can see there, no, it's not really when you think about it. He's trying to go for a move round the outside then. Donkel defending the inside line, but he'll have the better traction here. And you can see there Samster closing in, but not quick enough, not as quickly as Donkel was to Samster. So Donkel's really got a car that's set up for the straights here, running lower aero than Samster.
Yeah, I think this could be difficult for Sam. He's running more ERS than Donkel as well. Donkel is almost maxed out on the ERS actually, so he's obviously not pushing too hard. I think Sam is on the limit here, from what we can see on the stream at least, to try and keep with Donkel. And as you say, had nowhere near the speed advantage, did he, that Donkel did down into turn 6. Perhaps he didn't get as good an exit from turn 2, so we'll see how he does this lap. But it does look at the moment like Donkel may well have things under control at the moment.
As we head through turn 1, as we're over halfway in this German Grand Prix. Donkel leads from Samster, and that battle could last the end of the race. We've got Praga there in P3 making his debut in the Williams. Something about debuts and a Williams for Praga there. We saw it one time out at France. We could see it again, a podium for a debutant.
Yeah, and he's only 3.8 seconds back as well, isn't he? He's on the same straight as the lead pair at the moment. So Praga driving well at the moment, and now he's in clear air. He's obviously been battling for the first stage of the race. Now he's in clean air. He's putting in good lap times as well, so we'll keep an eye on that gap. Just 4 seconds at the moment. He is behind, so we'll keep an eye and see how he fares against the front two.
He's got to watch out for Chopper though, 1.4 seconds behind. That gap is slowly coming down. As well as that, we've got to watch out for Lukey and Matt FNG, because Lukey is sort of around that area. He's sort of in between 8 tenths and a second behind Matt FNG, but he's not a second behind where it counts, and that's the DRS zone. So watch out for that battle. As soon as Lukey gets that DRS, he'll be right on that Ferrari's tail, and the Ferrari has to be careful of that challenging Renault then. Donkel then starts lap 19 in the lead, and we've got Samster in second, Praga third, Chopper fourth, White Fountain in fifth, Matt FNG 6th, Lukey 7th, Marley in 8th, CSS 9th, Scorpion in 10th, and Joel there running in P11. We've lost Pepsi Gamer and Go Tony as they both retired from the menu.
Yeah, indeed, and Matt FNG, I think Luke is closing pretty rapidly here. Of course, Matt is on 16 lap old mediums now, so those mediums far worse shape than Lukey on just 4 lap old tyres, and I can just see from a little bit of onboard that he's having to lift massively in the final sector now. So the Ferrari driver, the second Ferrari driver, is looking a little bit vulnerable at the moment, and not his usual fight himself, as he's in the middle of the field and slightly coming on the defensive now.
Yeah, it's always tough when you've got to have a recovery race, especially in Matt's Matt's race here. He's on the same level as Marley then. They've both done 16 laps on those medium tyres. You can do 20 plus laps on the medium tyres. It is possible. And, well, it is probable because some of the drivers put it in lap 12, lap 13. So you can do around 25 laps on them, but any more, and you're going to start to get a massive amount of blistering and a lot of tyre wear lost. Donkel then sets the fastest lap of the race at 1:14.5. He's extended that gap between himself and Samster to just over a second, and that's crucial, especially in the first 2 straights there, as we now head around turn 4. Coming on to turn 5 then, and yes, Donkel will not... he's out of DRS range, so that is crucial now. And we'll see, is he going to pull away? Yes, he is. He is slightly pulling away on the straight. And that's just showing there Donkel set up for the straight, even running in a lower ERS battery mode than Samster coming down that straight. So through the corners then, we have to watch out for him, but down the straights, Donkel looks uncatchable. Yeah,
and that was a couple of tenths he was gaining in total down that straight as well. So that setup that Sam's got on that car, he may live to regret that if it is indeed costing him that much time down the straight. It doesn't look like he's getting that much through the corners, does it? It's 1.3 as they go into this third sector into the stadium. So we'll see what it is when they reach the pit straight again, whether he can gain much of that time back. But it does look like Sam here struggling a little bit to hold on, but they are building that buffer to Praga in third. So I don't think Sam will be too concerned. He'll just drive his race from here and see what happens. Either way, these two are looking good in P1 and P2 at the moment.
Well, Lukey there, 4 tenths back on Matt. I said as soon as that dipped down to a second there, as Matt actually is going to come into the pits. So Matt FNG in the pits, and this might be a move to go on to soft tyres there. Not only would he try and pick up the fastest lap, as Marley has followed him in. And what tyres go on? They are the soft tyres. So I would have been pretty surprised if it was the ultra softs, that's for sure. But on go a set of soft tyres for the Ferrari then, as Samster has actually reeled back in Donkel at quite a rate of knots now. 4/10 is the gap. Got to watch out as well for Praga and Chopper. That gap's below a second. We could see that battle developing over the next couple of laps. Dunkel holding on to the lead then. Praga trying to get away from Chopper, but he's reeling him in now. That Williams is going to be under serious pressure in the next couple of laps. Dunkel then still leading the way, so close to that wall on the left-hand side, but he looks comfortable at the moment. But Samster is breathing down his neck, right on his gearbox, ready to pounce once he gets that DRS zone and that move as we head through turn 16 and then through turn 17. Samster there having to lift off, not taking a great line through the final couple of corners, having to lift off there. But as we head through turn 1, as you can see, riding aboard with them, they're just about keeping two wheels on the track as they head up towards turn 2. Harsh braking zone. You see there, Dunkel actually locking up. That could cost him a couple of tenths, and that's not going to do the tyre wear any good. Samster then with the DRS, he's a lot closer than he was before, and he's got the slipstream. Can he try and reel himself back in to try and challenge? We head through turn 5. Is he going to try a diving move up the inside? Dunkel covers it though, as Samster tries to make a move around the outside. You can see there, Dunkel trying to prevent that line being taken, and he's done that to great effect because Samster didn't have a chance of getting past Praga and Chopper, battling away as we head down in towards turn 6. Not quite for Chopper this time, but he's a lot closer than he was a lap ago.
Yeah, so John Snowden to watch now. We've got two battles developing here, and Chopper continuing his run of good form and good pace. He's going to be challenging Praga for that podium position once again. And Sam has benefited, it appears, from Dunkel making a mistake, I presume. He was over a second clear, wasn't he, out of DRS. And suddenly Sam right back on Dunkel's gearbox and staying there as well. So just when we thought the battle might be slipping away, they're back at it again. So we'll keep an eye on both of these and see who can make progress.
12 laps to go. We've also got to watch out for Matt FNG, who is currently in 10th place then, right on Jaw's tail. Jaw, who did have pole position in this race, got that front wing damage as he had to change onto a set of soft tyres, but Matt on much fresher soft tyres might make that move sooner rather than later. We're just going to jump on board with the leaders again because Samster is putting that McLaren of Dunkel under real pressure. Dunkel heading to the left hand side of your picture then as we head in towards turn 6. Can that Ferrari make the move around the outside? Can he make it stick? He'll have the better traction, and look at that then, Samster takes the lead of the German Grand Prix. Just ahead of Dunkel, but don't count Dunkel out of it just yet. Here he goes then, up the inside of turn 8. Ooh. No, he backs out of it, locking up. That breaks a treat, but Samster then takes the lead of the German Grand Prix.
Yeah, and perhaps he'll regret going for that move because it was a risky one, wasn't it? And it didn't work out, and he did end up locking up and dropping away a little bit from Sam as well. So I think he'd do well just to keep it tucked in behind Sam if he can. He knows he's got a quicker car when it comes to the straight, and that could be the crucial difference in the end because it looks like otherwise they're pretty even over a lap time. But Sam does look to be just about getting into side by side into the braking zone, while we've seen Dunkel previously getting well clear before the braking zone, so that could make the difference.
Absolutely. So Samster now taking the lead of the race. 11 laps to go as we head through turn 5. And you can see that the McLaren still has the DRS enabled. So he's still within touching distance. This lap might just be reeling the Ferrari in, but you can see how much quicker the Ferrari's being closed in by the McLaren than the other way around. Here comes Chopper then round the outside of Praga as we head towards turn 6, but Chopper runs a little bit too deep. He has to take to the outside line, and Praga still holding on to that position and still holding on to P3. Chopper on 2-lap fresher tyres. That's going to be a very interesting battle as we head towards turn 8 then, and Chopper putting the Williams under real pressure then, but the Williams is soaking that pressure up very well indeed.
Yeah, he is at the moment, as you mentioned, a couple of laps difference on the tyres, and it could come well into play at the end of the race, as we're on lap 24 now of 34, but Chopper definitely looking the quicker of the two drivers, but can he find a way through?
Now FNG still trying to find his way through as we head towards... a little bit of contact there from Matt as we head through turn 8, hitting the back of Scorpion there. Does he have any front wing damage? He goes around the outside though. Lovely ending to the move. Not sure about the beginning of it. Maybe just mistimed the move, mistimed the calculations there. But Matt finds his way through. Here comes Chopper then trying to make a move happen. Trying to engineer a move through turn 3 and through turn 4. As he's got the DRS, he's got a lot more speed this time around with the DRS open here. And Praga trying to keep a hold of that position as best he can, but in that DRS zone it's always very difficult then. Chopper getting a tighter line though, and he runs too deep, outbrakes himself, and Praga here might have a better run as Chopper rejoins the track, coming off of it as we head towards turn 7. The Williams has the inside line. They've just about given each other about enough room as we head towards turn 8. Chopper has the inside line. Praga has the outside line. That'll become the inside line. And yes, Chopper is off. And he spun the car around. Oh, I don't believe it. Chopper, who was having a fantastic race, battling away, has lost the car. That is a position gifted for White Fountain and Lukey. He rejoins the track then. He's got another gap behind, but he spins up those rear tyres. He's in the wall. Oh, my goodness. Trying to rejoin the track. He's lost a huge chunk of that front wing. It's just gone from bad to worse for Chopper. That will have to come back to the pit lane. He'll put on a set of soft tyres, but he will be rejoining pretty much at the back of the grid.
Yeah, that is a prime example of just how quickly things can go wrong in a Formula 1 race. 1 minute he is battling for the podium and then just lost the rear of the car, half span it, and then I think in his eagerness to try and recover it, completely span the car and lost the car. And he's also now sped in the pit lane as well. And as you mentioned, he crashed again on the way back to the pits as well before that. So just lost his cool there after the initial mistake. And yeah, all gone horribly wrong for him. And he now finds himself at the back. And it looks like, is he retiring? Yes, he has. He's retired from the race as well. So all gone horribly wrong for Chopper.
Virtual safety car deployed then. The second one of this race. As Chopper then does retire from the menu. So Jaw has the final point scoring position. 10 runners left in this one, and a virtual safety car gives the drivers a chance to charge up their ERS battery and to also give their engine a little bit of a break here, cool down the engine, keep those tyres warm. It's not going to be very long, I don't think, this virtual safety car. Look out for that top left hand corner, sector 1, 2 and 3, and then it goes completely. That's how you know we're very close to the end here. Samster still leading the way, and there we go then. Green flags, we're racing again. And Samster then on top of this one this time, as Donkel can't quite get the start right, but he might have just got turn 1 right because he's right on the gearbox here. Thought about a move going into turn 2, but no dice. The McLaren stays behind, tries to race smartly here to use the DRS through turn 5, and yet that's exactly what he's going to do. Into the DRS zone with the slipstream, and look how much he's closing that gap then. He's going to go to the right hand side then as we head down towards turn 6 into the braking zone. We've seen Donkel outbrake himself here before and just about keeping out of the side pod there as they make contact. Oh, very close there. Donkel has to tuck back in. He lost too much speed there and he has to try again. Coming towards turn 8, but he backs out of that one. Meanwhile, Marley is closing in on Scorpion, by the way. 4/10 is the gap, and Marley had to pit in again for a set of soft tyres. He might find himself here grabbing P8 from Scorpion, and indeed he does with that DRS then, and a story what might have been for Marley at his debut. At the moment, running in P8 still. Plenty of this race to go, 8 laps to be exact. Still time for him to catch Matt FNG, but it's going to be quite a task to try and catch CSS at the back there.
Yeah, I think that might be asking a bit too much if CSS makes a mistake. But yeah, it's been a bit scrappy for Mali, hasn't he? He's shown good pace, but yeah, he's had a few errors and a bit of misfortune, at least in minute as well. But everyone in this race now is on for points if they get to the end. So points in your debut race, you know, you can't complain too much at that. So we'll see how he fares now, if he can put a race on Chopper. But well, I've just got back on board with Donkel actually, because he was making easy work, wasn't he, early in the race, it seemed, on Sam. But he's struggling a bit more now to make the move. And they were lucky, I think, actually, to avoid more of an incident as well. The lap before, when they touched there, one of the cars could easily have got spun round, but they've both been able to continue. But things will heat up now as the laps tick down. Donkel might get a bit more desperate here to try and get the job done.
Absolutely, Ferrari holding on to this position then. As it stands then, Samster will be increasing his lead at the top by 25 points. We'll have a gap of 74 points at the top of the table, and as it stands, Donkel will still stay in third place in the championship. Remember, he has to win to overtake Reflow in the standings then. Lap 29 of this race, 6 laps to go as we head through turn 1 for the 29th time. Samster is your race leader from Donkel, Praga, White Fountain, Lukey, CSS, Matt FNG, Marley, Scorpion and Jaw. All 3 retirements have been from the menu.
Yeah, and I think Donkel is still driving a smart race here. He's got full DRS available to him while Sam's running a little bit low. Donkel going to get a big overspeed this time, but can he get the braking right? It's so awkward, so difficult to get the braking right into this tight hairpin and get a good exit on this inside line. So we've seen several times Sam been able to carry it around the outside, but not this time. A tiny bit of contact, but Donkel has got the move done for now. Sam tucked right in behind though. But will Donkel, if he can get ahead, will he then unleash all that ERS that he's got saved up and try and break away? But Sam's fighting back then through this S section. He's not going to give up at all, is he? And he's going to be alongside into the turn here, to turn 12. And I think Donkel will have to back out. He had no other choice there. So he's trying every which way, Donkel, but Sam just won't give up. He keeps half a car length alongside and manages to regain the position once again.
Yeah, Donkel there having to back out the move. There was no other place he was going if he was going to take that line other than the gravel trap. So he had to back out of that one. So Samster leading the way then. 5 laps to go here at the German Grand Prix. And Jaw coming in to put on a set of ultra soft tyres to get him to the end of the race. Disaster for him, but he might have a point at the end of it. Donkel again thinks about the move up to turn 2. Just putting that Ferrari under a little bit of pressure here as he makes his way through turn 3 and 4 onto turn 5 now. As you can see then, you've got the overspeed as Jono was talking about as we head down through turn 5. On the way to turn 6 in the braking zone, you can see there Donkel confident to take the racing line, but Samson's trying to stick it up the inside there, but not this time. Donkel covers that beautifully there, and Donkel in the lead of the race with 4 and a bit laps to go.
Yeah, I think Sam knew he was asking a bit much, perhaps going for the braking manoeuvre there to try and come back at Donkel, but maybe thought he had to go for it. But yeah, finally the McLaren driver has got ahead, so will he be able to break away now? I'm for sure he will be absolutely pushing now, as these two may soon become, you know, the main championship rivals. I know Donkel was in the talk show last Sunday and said he still thinks he can win this drivers' championship. He's a long way back. There's a lot of rounds to go. Donkel, a very confident guy indeed. So winning this one will be another step towards that ultimate goal. And Sam's 7/10 back, so he's going to be in the DRS zone. Can he fight back?
4 laps to go then. Donkel takes the lead of this race. Watch out for the battle between CSS and Matt F&G. CSS is on the strategy of the 1 stop there. Matt F&G having to make a stop early on. He's on a 2 stop, but you can see there Matt is on a faster soft tyre here. So watch out for that battle, Ferrari versus Sauber then. We're going to rejoin the battle at the front because as you can see there, Samster with the DRS is closing. But you saw how quickly closing was Donkel on the last lap to make that overtake. And, you know, Samster's not closing in as quickly as the McLaren is.
Yeah, he's not, is he? I think he's struggling slightly versus the McLaren. And I think the ERS that he had saved up Donkel as well, he's unleashing now. They're getting towards equal now, so he's really, really pushing everything he's got now, and it has worked. It's got him currently just over that crucial second. So if he can keep it neat and tidy now through this tricky first sector, he could well have broken the DRS to Sam, and with that perhaps broken Sam's chances of winning the race.
Round the final corner. And Donkel will start the 32nd lap of the race. 3 laps to go. Can Donkel hold on? And look at that gap now, 1.3. Briefly it was, but Donkel didn't quite take turn 1 right here as we head through turn 2, 3 and 4. Believe it or not, that is 3 corners through there. Not sure how, but it is. As Donkel makes his way on towards turn 5. And you can see there, Samster's DRS is firmly shut, and you see him dropping back just ever so slightly here down that turn 5, coming towards turn 6. And we've seen Donkel, you know, sort of get the braking zone wrong coming into turn 6. It's just as likely to happen again, especially with those worn tyres. This race is far from over, Jono.
Yeah, it's far from over if Sam can hang in there. And yeah, we've seen Donkel, he's already had this sort of gap a bit earlier in the race, and suddenly it was gone. And in a flash, and Sam was back in the battle. So he's got to keep it absolutely clean now. We know Sam is capable of just driving lap after lap without a mistake, especially if he's on his own. So both drivers pushing hard, but Donkel then, the driver in front, all the pressure's on him now to maintain that gap for the last few laps of the race. 2 laps to go then, as Donkel starts the 33rd lap of this race then. Just a couple of mentions there. Praga, 3rd place right now. What a finish that would be to finish on the podium. Again, Williams and debut podiums seem to go hand in hand. White Fountain there in 4th place with Lukey in 5th, 2.4 behind. That battle
might be coming to an end. But CSS and Matt F&G, this is the problem now. You've got two drivers on pretty much the same amount of wear here in terms of percentage. And Matt, it will be coming to the end of those soft tyres. That's why he's struggling for grip out there. Marley as well, 1.8 behind Matt F&G. Got to watch out for that one. Scorpion here in 9th place. Did try the one-stop strategy, but it hasn't really worked out for the Toro Rosso driver today. And the less about Jaws Day that is mentioned on this stream, I think the better, because he's just not had the greatest day. He's been on every single tyre though, so if he hasn't got that trophy unlocked, he'll definitely unlock that one.
He will, and it feels like a long time ago, doesn't it, that we were praising Jaws' qualifying lap there and saying he's put it on pole position, and now he's last of the runners. So that's what can happen though in Formula One. Unfortunately for Jaws this week, he's come out on the wrong side of luck. And yeah, but if he gets the end, he will get a point. All these guys, I think, will be pretty pleased if they can grab a point from the end here. And yeah, Praga would be a good debut podium for him, wouldn't it, if he could get it? And White Fountain and Lukey have driven good races as well to slot in 4th and 5th at the moment.
And might this be the day for the Sauber driver of CSS? He's only got 1 lap to go. Meanwhile then, Donkel is on the final lap of the race, 2.1 ahead of Samson. Now when it comes to penalties, I haven't actually kept track, Jono, so this is going to be a bit of a mystery to me as Donkel makes his way through turn 6 for the final time. Heading towards turn 7, he's 2.2 ahead of Samster. I reckon he's trying to get that 3-second buffer. I think he's just trying to dash away and make that gap as big as possible. At the moment it's 2.3. I wonder if that's going to haunt him at the end of this race then. Coming towards turn 12 for the final time. And Donkel here starting P5 in qualifying in a very, very damp qualifying. Only 1 dry lap he managed, but it got him P5. He's going to round the final couple of corners here, and Donkel might just be taking 2nd place in this championship. Donkel rounds the final corner. There's the checkered flag. He crosses the line first in Germany, and is that going to be the win? Yes, it is. Donkel wins the German Grand Prix with Samsa finishing in 2nd. It's a debut podium for Praga. What a result for the Williams driver. White Fountain then coming home. He's going to finish in 4th place. Lukey is going to come across the line. He finishes in 5th there. And is this the day for CSS? He's got 1 more corner to go. This could be it. His first points finish of the season. CSS finishes in P6. He drops to P7 though. Matt in the Ferrari gets P6 instead. And Marley there in P8, Scorpion in P9, and as Jaw is going to round off his miserable day. It's not often you can have a miserable day in Formula 1 and get a point to show for it, but Jaw will tick up that final point then. But your winner of the German Grand Prix and moving up to 2nd place in the driver standings, it's Donkel.
It is indeed, and thoroughly deserved. What a breath of fresh air he's been, I guess, in this championship. He came in, didn't he? And I think he got a podium on his debut, and then that mighty win in Monaco as well that really put the marker down to the rest of the field, and he hasn't looked back. He also won last night at Silverstone, of course, and another win here in Germany. So Donkel really stamping his authority now into this championship. He's obviously got a big gap to close still to Sam, who's Mr. Consistent there in P2. But in terms of race wins here, Donkel is looking absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely. He takes a win in this season. He might have just cut that gap by a crucial 7 points. But there you go then. Your official, unofficial results. Donkel wins the race then. Samster in 2nd place. Praga in 3rd. A great debut podium for him. White Fountain in 4th place. Lukey in 5th. Matt F&G in 6th. We've got CSS picking up his first points of the season. It's 6 points. What a day for him. In the Sauber. Marley in 8th place, Scorpion 9th, Jaw rounding off the top 10. Non-finishers Chopper, Pepsi Gamer and Go Tony, who all retired from the menu. Well, Jono, what a race we had.
Yeah, that was a great race, wasn't it, between the Championship 1 and 2, and they delivered another absolutely cracking race. Of course, they went wheel to wheel at Silverstone last week, and the race came down to literally the last corner, where Donkel stole it from Sam, and again they were separated from by just a couple of seconds. Delighted for Praga as well on his debut there to put it on the podium, absolutely fantastic. And CSS as well, and I can see in the YouTube comments there that he's pretty pleased, shall we say, to pick up his first points of the season.
Pretty pleased or pretty relieved?
Perhaps a bit of both.
Maybe a bit of both, but yeah, absolutely fantastic there. Jono, if you had to pick a driver of the day, who are you going to go for?
Oh wow, that's difficult. I think you've got to look at Don Cool because he wasn't even on the front row of the grid, was he? And he's come away with the victory. So it was an absolutely fantastic drive by him. But Praga has got to be there or thereabouts as well to come into a new league and put it on the podium. I'm sure he'll be delighted.
And next time out is Hungary. They call it Monaco without the walls. So it should be a pretty interesting affair next time around. You can catch that at 8 p.m. next week. That's it from us on this stream. Make sure you do tune into the Prestige tier. I think they're about 5 minutes away from finishing qualifying, and I haven't looked, but I'm hoping there are cars out on track in their qualifying. So go watch them and watch that battle unfold. But from Jono and myself, Jono, it's been an absolute pleasure, as always.
Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure, and wow, another absolutely fantastic race, and they are setting up one heck of a second half for the championship here. So yeah, I can't wait for Hungary next week. Absolutely,
and we hope to see you there. Make sure you do subscribe to the YouTube channel below. Make sure you hit that bell as well. You'll get notified every time the channel goes live. That's it from us on this stream. Hope to see you again next week. Make sure you do check out the Prestige tier, which is happening right now. But until next time, I've been Kieran McGinley.
And I've been John Worth.
Take care of yourselves, and we will see you next time.